Now let's dig just a little bit deeper under the hood of TCP/IP, and let's talk about the two main protocols, TCP and UDP. Now these are two distinct protocols in the TCP/IP suite. You're always going to be using one or the other of these to communicate, and they can each utilize port numbers to send and receive data. And so we're going to talk about both of those aspects of TCP and UDP in this video. Then we'll talk about some specifics about these port numbers that you need to memorize for the exam in the next video. Well, let's go back and just review just a second here. The IP address is how we identify a particular computer on a particular network. So the IP address has to be unique for every computer on the network. For example, 115.34.102.15, that's an IP address. A port number is used to identify a specific service on a computer. So if I'm trying to hit a web server or a web page on a computer that has that IP address, it would look like this. Notice 115.34.102.15, and then there's a colon and 80. Now we seldom see this number, the colon and the port number, but it's out there and it's being used. And this is kind of tipping off the receiver as to what kind of service I'm looking for here and how to treat this. So now let's dig just a little bit deeper into TCP and UDP as protocols. The TCP protocol, which is part of the namesake of the TCP/IP suite of protocols, stands for Transmission Control Protocol. And it does just what it sounds like it does. It controls the transmission of data between two endpoints. And this offers guaranteed delivery service. Now what I want you to do is think phone call. You remember the commercials, "Can you hear me now?" We do that all the time. If you're going to call someone named Bob, so you call him on the phone, this is how you communicate. Bob says hello, and he waits, and you say, "Hello, Bob." And if Bob can hear you and he can understand you, he answers, "Hi, Mark, how you doing?" And then I answer him. But if he's all breaking up and crackly and stuff, or if I'm all breaking up and crackly, he'll say, "But I can't understand. I didn't get that. Can you repeat that? I'm not hearing you." That is exactly what the Transmission Control Protocol does. Every few packets that get sent, it sends back an acknowledgement saying, "Hey, I got those, everything looks okay. I got those, everything looks okay." If it doesn't send back that it got some packets, or it sends back that there were some problems, then the packet gets resent. So I know that I'm going to get all the packets of data and the entire message is going to go through smoothly, or I'm going to get an error report. We do this in phone calls without thinking. All right, as long as we can understand what's being transmitted, we continue to move on. Now, UDP is the User Datagram Protocol. Now, this one offers best effort delivery services, and the best way to think about this is a postcard. Now, if I want to send Bob a postcard, right, I get a postcard with some goofy picture on the front, and I flip it over on the back. "Hey, Bob, wish you were here." Or Jane, or Francis, or whoever it is. And so I drop the postcard in the mailbox. Now, how do I know they ever get that postcard? I don't. They may call me later and tell me, but for the most part, I drop it in the mailbox and I assume they'll get it. I hope they do, and I'm about my business. That is what the User Datagram Protocol does. It sends the frames, it sends the data out across the internet or across the network, and it does not check to see if they were delivered. It just assumes that they will be delivered. Now, why would anybody ever use that? Well, think about it. The TCP protocol is considerably slower than UDP because it's doing all this verifying. So if I want to transfer data across the network as quickly as possible, even though I may run the risk of not getting it all there, I can use UDP. So that's the difference. Now, when I use either of these two protocols along with a port number, I can tell the listening device exactly what service I'm trying to get to on that machine, as well as the particular machine that I want to get to. Okay, so we'll talk about port numbers and the standard port numbers out there that you need to know about in the next video.